Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, I'm pleased to have the BYOG, the Bring Your Own Guts Player of the Week. And it's a player from the Ansonia Chargers who I will be seeing in just a few weeks, less than a week plus, on Thanksgiving as they play against Naugatuck. And that's going to be quite the game, a game for the NBL title and a lot more. But this player did such a fantastic job with two injuries that happened to two of his teammates and really was able to do a lot. Paul Palmer, who's a junior wide receiver, kicker, punter, probably does everything besides being the head coach. Paul, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
This is going to be a lot of fun. I enjoyed being able to talk to Romanowski, Cassetti, Kaminsky. It sounds like a law firm with those three, but it was great to be able to talk with them. Now I have you on here. And, when I was doing the game a couple days ago, uh, I was doing Naugatuck and Woodland, and I saw that you guys at the time were down against Seymour. And I was like, okay, we got ourselves a battle, a little different than what some people were saying. But then I saw how I forgot whose Twitter it was. I saw your name a lot. You were making a lot of plays with the two injuries. I think it was Ingram and Dizabina. Talk to me about kind of that game, man, for you, because the team needed you to step up as a young player, and you did that.
Yes. In practice, we do a lot of second team reps. So I was familiar with the play style and the plays that we ran, and it helped me be more comfortable handing the ball or getting the ball.
Mm.
Um, my teammates also trust me because of those second team reps here and there. They know that as long as they do their job, I'm going to do my job. We could rely on each other that way.
Now, I want to go back a little bit before we continue to go into now what is just a few weeks left of the regular season, one game left. And I know right now everybody's preparing in the NVL for Thanksgiving week. Now, with you being a junior, you missed your freshman year. So last year was basically your first year in high school football, correct?
Yes.
So last year, again, to just go back to that for a second, there's a lot of expectations that comes with donning the blue and white, being a Charger. For you, basically being a freshman, but in a sophomore body as far as football experience, how was that for you?
Um, it was a little bit challenging because I didn't get the freshman football experience. That was my first year on varsity. I'd never been on really any kind of varsity team like that before, and it's a lot different than Pop Warner.
Mhm.
So it was definitely a new experience for me. Um, but my coaches did prepare me for it. I feel like.
Was there any was there any player or players that really helped with kind of getting you up to speed with kind of the Charger way to a certain degree?
Yes, Chris Kaminsky, the quarterback,
Mhm.
because I'm a wide receiver, we were able to, like, on the weekends or after practice, stay after and just, run routes, run different plays, go over different meanings of different routes, stuff like that. We were able to put in that extra time that helped
Mhm.
last year and is helping me this year too with working over the summer. So Chris Kaminsky is definitely someone who helped me.
It's the growth of Kaminsky from last year to this year, and I mentioned this on the broadcast when we had you guys against Holy Cross because it was the first time seeing Ansonia in person for myself, and to see the fact that he's become a confident player. I felt like last year there were times where he would second guess himself. You could tell, and that's how he would get into some mistakes, and that's how the team would. You guys were young, the entire team was young for the most part. But to see his growth, it's great. And I feel like the same thing for you. Do you feel like you've made growth from last year to this year?
Absolutely. There are certain things now that I understand that I didn't necessarily quite get last year. Like, everybody makes mistakes. That's part of the game. There's going to be plays made on both sides of the ball
Hmm.
by both teams, and you just have to, like this year, I'm starting to realize, if you make a mistake, just worry about the next play. It's part of the game. I didn't really understand that quite to its full extent last year.
Now, in the years that I've been broadcasting for high school football, mainly in the NVL, the one thing I've noticed is, and I don't know if this is something that Coach Brockett preaches or this is something that's brought up through Pop Warner, but I remember the days of when Wagon Bloss was a part of the team. I remember Johnson as well. A lot of times, not only were you guys wide receivers, but also like yourself, you're a kicker, punter, safety. You basically do everything. Is that something that is preached or taught at the younger ages? I mean, just talk to me about that because I'm curious.
Yeah, our coaches believe that every player should be in one way or another a two-way player.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's special teams on kickoff and say running back, or it's linebacker and punter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, that ability to play two ways gives us a lot more room to manage our players.
Mm-hmm.
If one person goes down, someone could fill that spot, or vice versa. Um, it's definitely taught, I feel like, through Pop Warner,
Mm-hmm.
because Pop Warner, I also played kicker, but I played tight end, which is where I kind of get my receiving experience from.
Now, I do have to ask, when am I going to see the senior Romanowski get the ball? When am I going to see him get the rock? Is he going to run the ball at all?
I'm not really too sure about that, but we do joke around about that now and then, him getting the ball, because I believe in Pop Warner, he played running back.
That would be a hard person to tackle. Maybe I'm wrong, but he's a big boy.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the younger one, I think, his younger brother's only a freshman, right?
yes,
So imagine, okay, so picture this. Imagine one being the fullback and the other one's the power back. Good luck,
yeah.
defense, right?
That's a tough backfield. Yeah,
I could imagine. But okay, so back to you, Paul, and I apologize. I'm just thinking like imagine Romanowski getting the ball. That'd be crazy in a good way.
yeah,
So for
good.
you, okay, so you had a successful sophomore year. The team did. I understand the Noggy loss and obviously what happened in Cromwell. Okay. It happens. Young team, almost the entire team came back. I know you lost a couple players. Um, as you were going through the off season, preseason, et cetera, for this year, what was different compared to last year?
What was different? Um, we definitely believed more in the weight room. I think, at least me personally. I realized how important it was, not only for me but for us as a team. It was something that we needed to be more like involved with
Mm-hmm.
as a team.
Do you feel like too, to a certain degree, that you, Cassetti, Kaminsky, Romanowski, basically the entire team, Ingram, I could go down the line, Zabina, et cetera. Not to say that you needed to lose some games or go through adversity, but being so young last year and also losing a year because of COVID, you really couldn't go through anything like that. So, because of last year, like you said, going through the weight room, and it seems like from what I've heard and just been talking with you guys, you've taken it to heart. And it seems like you've taken that step. Do you agree with that?
100%. I believe that we got to experience both sides of the football game: winning, losing, being up by a lot, being down. It definitely gave us a different perspective on the game, and we want to be on the winning side at all times.
And this season in particular, I know some old timers would say, "Oh, this Ansonia team is not like the ones from like the '90s." Well, okay, well, not every team is going to be the same. Those kids are kind of get older; they don't stay around. They're not the Arkell Newsoms are never going to stay seniors. They kind of leave and go off and do things. Same thing with the Dobbses. Same thing with you one day. Same thing with Kaminsky, so on and so forth. But this team, I feel like, has shown a lot of grit. You were down against Gilbert Northwestern Housatonic. He came back. Holy Cross was one of the hardest hitting craziest games I've seen. You came back, you held strong, especially too with Holy Cross within their 30, had a chance for the game-winning touchdown. You held them 4 straight times. Um, and then a tough game against Seymour with Drezick, same situation, also with injuries. A lot of adversity, a lot of things that could have not gone your way, but you guys were able to overcome that. Just talk to me about that because I think it shows a lot about your team.
Oh yeah. This past off season has really brought us all together. We've talked to each other. We don't give up on each other. It's what it comes down to. We know that we still have the whole game to play. There's time to come back. There's time to get a lead. That as long as we don't give up and we stay together, you know, there's definitely a chance to win, regardless of what the score is.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but again, this is just from afar from the broadcast booth. It seems to me that Cassetti is he's the, I don't want to say loud because that sounds wrong, but he's the guy that's getting everybody up, regardless of if you guys are down or if there's a struggle. It seems like and there's a lot of leaders on the team. I don't want to say that he's the only one, but it seems like Cassetti, every single time that I'm looking towards your side of the field, Cassetti's right there basically saying, let's go, like we're not done. I mean, against Seymour, he had 5 touchdowns, which helped you guys able to win. I mean, it looks like you agree with me on this.
Yeah, I do. It's not only just Dave, like you said. We have leaders in every position
Mhm.
on our team. But when Chris is off on offense, getting the play, Dave's in the huddle, getting everybody hyped up for the next play. Whatever error or any problem that just happened, he's
Mhm.
helping people fix it and getting us prepared for the rest of the game. The next play, the play
Mhm.
after that. On defense too, he's doing the same thing. If we get a big stop, he's hyping everybody up, getting us ready for the next play. Whatever happens, he's there for us.
As you've been able to go through practice this season, I mean, do you ever kind of, look at what's around because there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of potential for players to hopefully play in college if they decide to. But do you ever kind of just sit back if you can and just be like, wow, I'm around some really talented football players, which not every team can say that.
Yeah, I definitely do. Like this previous game against Seymour, Dave had 5 touchdowns. I think he has 20 around 20 on the season. Like I'm just sitting back and being like that's a leader. That's someone who's, I don't want to say perfected craft, but worked hard in the off season,
Mhm.
and it's starting to show in his performance. And he's kind of like setting the example for what I want to do and what others would want to do.
You mentioned the touchdowns by Cassetti. I mean, the Nagy game against Ansonia, your team. I think, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the top 2 running backs who have the most touchdowns in the NVL are playing in that game. You've got Cassetti from Ansonia, and you've got Kate and Martin from Naugatuck. So that's a lot of firepower on both sides, and that's not even counting everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, two of the best leaders I think in the NVL
Mm-hmm.
are going, head to head. It's just bound to happen.
Now, I want to look towards this Naugatuck game a little bit. And, I have Paul Palmer on. He's a junior wide receiver, kicker, punter, does everything. I appreciate you coming on. Your performance against Seymour was fantastic, and I expect you to continue it, man. The Noggy game, I know that is something that you and the rest of the team have been uh, waiting for, anticipating ever since how it ended last year. Um, I think you mentioned today was the first practice, kind of getting things down. You have over a week plus before the game. Um, how difficult is it to not look too far ahead as far as to not just wish the entire week plus away? Because you need preparation. I'm sure I know Brockett's a big guy as far as making sure structure, this is the itinerary, everything is going to be done this way. How hard is it on the team to keep everybody focused, or is that not even hard?
I mean, you said it for me. Coach Brock has been keeping us controlled and calm, not getting too ahead of ourselves, keeping us at the right pace. I feel like it's the right pace.
Mm.
No one's getting ahead of themselves, and we're staying together. We're taking things one at a time, one play at a time, making sure we're getting things right.
This game, there's a lot on the line. I mean, obviously, seeding for you guys, seeding for Naugatuck in Class L, for you guys, Class S. The NVL title is on the line. There's history on the line as far as Naugatuck. I think the last time they beat Ansonia was like somewhere in the 90s, back-to-back years. It's been a long time for that, or something like that. I'd have to go back and look. Um, do you guys care? I'm not saying you don't care about the history, but is that something you guys think about, or is it like, you know what, we can't think about all that past stuff. We can only think about the present.
I mean, I don't want to speak for others, but that is something that I think about.
Okay.
I wouldn't say often, but I do think about it because yeah, I want to add to that history. I want to add more wins to that rivalry, and it's pretty important to me.
Now with the game, and I always felt like the game always is going to mean a lot depending on the scenarios, but obviously this game is huge, and that goes without saying. Um, do you feel like because of what you can do? I mean, I mentioned about Ansonia kicking the field goal in the beginning of the second quarter against Holy Cross. Look how much that mattered. You guys won by 3. You took the points. You didn't try to go for the touchdown because of the plays that you felt like worked or didn't work at that time. Um, for you specifically, because I feel like you're going to be a huge part of this game because of what you can do. Um, talk to me about the mental side, how you're going to mentally prepare yourself, because it's a little different. It's not like you play one position, then your job is done. You have to be wired the entire game. So talk to me about that.
I try my hardest to be as coachable as I can, so my coaches can rely on me and call on me whenever they need me to. They know I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win. Whether it's a field goal like you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
or running the ball against Seymour, or just blocking.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they need me to do, I'm trying to prepare myself to do it through practice and outside of practice.
So let's say right now, Ansonia is down by 2, right? You're inside Naugatuck. So what exactly is your range? Within the 30, outside the 30? What is it? Do you even have one?
I, I'm I wouldn't really say I have a definite range
Okay.
because I practice PATs and field goals. It's a little bit of a mix of both.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't really give myself a set range.
Okay. So let's say you're within a range that Brock is going to send you out for the potential game-winning field goal or game-tying field goal. I know it's a little bit different because obviously a tie and a win. So I apologize if the question is going to be a little off. But for you, what is your mindset? Because I'm sure you're preparing yourself even before that point because you're part of the offense. So you're on the field leading up to that with you being the wide receiver. So are you even thinking potentially about the field goal as you're driving down? Or is it not even in your mind because you're thinking about Kaminsky 4 plays down because you're having to worry about just getting to that point?
I'm definitely considering it, but I'm just more focused on whatever the next play is, regardless of the decision. If it's a field goal, then I know what I need to do. I trust my teammates. I'm going to execute. Or if we're going for it,
Mm-hmm.
then same thing. I trust my teammates. I'm going to execute whatever plays, you know, told to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to go out and do it.
Okay. So back to my point. Rocket sends you out. Go for the field goal, win or tie. What is your mindset? Are you running on to where the ball is? Are you jogging? What are you doing? What's going through your mind? What are you thinking about?
I'm definitely running out there. I'm not walking. I'm not showing any sort of weakness because I'm confident in myself and my ability to score. Um, I'm not just gonna think about the crowd, nothing like that. I'm focused on my job, my responsibility, and what I have to do.
Is there any sort of pre-kick routine that you have? Is there anything? I know some kickers that I've noticed in the NFL when they're about to kick, sometimes they'll do like a practice kick. Sometimes they'll do something with their opposite arm of which they kick to kind of visualize kicking the ball going through. At least that's what I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm not a kick specialist. What are you like? What's your routine if you have one?
Um, there's no set routine, but I sometimes will have like a quick conversation with Coach Brockett
Mhm.
or Christopher Kaminsky, and then I'll go out and kick.
Okay, good to know. Paul, I really appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun to be able to talk with you. I'm sure I'll be able to speak with you unless you're already in the game, and I won't be able to speak with you beforehand. But hopefully, I'll be able to have a chance to. But best of luck as far as with this game and also in the playoffs as well, because I think you guys will be a team that will be a reckoned with in Class S for sure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Anytime. That wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. MRCT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm Marjorie. Find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.